Hey everyone, welcome to the Return of the Logos podcast, where we're attempting to return logic to a chaotic world by shining a light on the shadows.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Where the hell did you get that idea, Hal?
Dave, although you took very thorough precautions in the pod against my hearing you, I could see your lips move.
Well, that was ominous. That may give you a little bit of a hint at what we want to talk about tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about AI. It's a subject that I'm really interested in. I like to think about all the possibilities, all the positives and all the negatives. Me personally, I think about mostly the negatives. So we're going to get into all that tonight. But before we do...
Welcome. Me personally, I like to think about the negatives.
But...
Welcome to Return of the Logos podcast, everyone.
Yeah, welcome to the Return of the Logos. Isaiah, Mr. Negative. Andy, Mr.
They say pessimistic. I prefer realist.
That's actually generally what I say.
Yeah.
I call myself a realist. So everybody, welcome back to the Return of the Logos podcast. Thanks for everybody who's tuning in and listening. We appreciate you all very much. Before we do get into the AI talk, we do have just a little bit of housekeeping just to clarify a couple things from the last episode. The last episode, we were discussing two separate attacks on ICE officers that happened in Texas on the same day. I believe we misspoke. You just want to clear everything up. So one of the locations was Alvarado, Texas, which was an ICE facility. And that was the ambush attack that we were discussing. There were
multiple people. And the guy that hung out in the woods for 24 hours trying to evade detection and all
Correct.
that.
Yeah. So that was in Alvarado. And the other attack was a single individual that shot an ICE officer, and that was in Garland, Texas. Just a little bit of housekeeping. But now, Andy, let's talk about AI. What do you think? Initial thoughts.
This is a pretty big topic, and it's pretty relevant, and it's pretty important, not only for us, but for our children to know what this all means, and coming from Generation X, the last generation, the only generation to remember before the internet and after the internet. I mean, when I started high school, the internet was a series of what they called bulletin board systems.
Mm-hmm.
And the operating systems were not where you have a user interface. It was like, they're really basic.
Yeah. It's like, and you actually had to know like 10.172.153.12, right, as the address. They didn't have DNS servers, not like google.com.
Yeah, or if you wanted the computer to do something locally, you had to know exactly what the command is.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be today what kids would know as the command prompt. That's what the computer looked like when it booted up.
Mm-hmm.
Like DOS,
Yeah.
It was DOS and command prompts. You know?
And I remember my first time going on the internet, it was at my high school in the library. I didn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
Right. I literally didn't know what to do. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Do I tell it to do something? Is it supposed to, I didn't even know how to interact with it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was at the very beginning.
Yeah. And so by the time I graduated high school, I was getting a disk from AOL for basically a free browser.
Yeah.
And email.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What's the chick movie? Harry Met Sally or something.
Oh, no,
it's like,
you've got mail.
You've got mail.
Yeah, you've got mail.
I'm not very good with chick movies, obviously. Yeah, it's the name of the movie, Jackass.
Yeah.
It's called You've Got Mail.
The quote is the name of the movie.
Yeah, so that was also back when, what was the group that you could get like 20 CDs?
Oh, yeah, for a penny
Was
or
it
a dollar.
BMI or
I think it was BGI,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, same time period, right?
Yeah.
So like when you think about where things were, I was doing cassette tapes
Yeah,
when I started high school. I had a typing class in high school.
I did too. Yeah.
Typing, like
That was an actual skill set that was taught.
on an actual typewriter.
Yeah.
Right? It's the only reason I know that I can type without looking at the keyboard now is because I took that. But I went from that to Windows being for home computers and office and all that kind of stuff. So I am a strange generation because I've got 1 foot in analog and 1 foot in digital,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I also still remember when we didn't record everything on a hard drive.
Yeah.
When we used 24-track 2-inch tape, and
Yep.
I have a fondness
The
for that. So.
the warm fuzz of magnetic tape.
Yeah, the
Yep.
warmth. So I suppose if you were going to use an analogy for me and how I think about AI, that would probably be it. It's like I still have a fondness for 2-inch analog tape and recording old school,
Yeah, I think most people our age and older do. It's I think, a function of what you grew up with and what you're familiar with. But I think the interesting point that you bring up is that we basically have a foot in both realms, the before and the after. And the interesting thing to me is how fast it evolved. I mean, in the terms of a humankind timeline, not in the timeline of a single individual. Because, I mean, it's been, like 30 years, right? And we've gone from basically putting the AOL CD into your CD-ROM drive on your computer to connect to the internet to now we're talking about artificial intelligence in about 30 years.
Even more than that. We've gone from having cell phones were these giant devices that you had to plug into your car.
Yeah.
It was like the size of a brick. They went from that to a supercomputer in your pocket
Yeah.
in literally a matter of 10 years.
Yeah.
Like they went from that to a flip phone, and it was all how small can it be?
The Star.
How cool?
You
how
remember
cool
the
could it be?
StarTAC, Motorola StarTAC?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Blip, blip.
I got one of those as a loaner because I had my first one was one of the Nokia ones. You remember those? Mm-hmm. And I had to get it repaired or something. So they gave me a loaner. It was one of those StarTACs. Yeah. And I was like, this is freaking awesome.
The bat phone.
The bat phone. It was the bat phone.
Yeah. You could do the direct connect, and it made the...
No, that was the Nextel. Nextel did that.
The DDD, and it was like a direct connect.
Yeah, that was Nextel.
See, to me, that was like the Star Trek, where they tapped the little communicator.
Well, StarTAC was the model of the Motorola phone.
Oh, okay.
That was one of the first flip phones.
Gotcha. But just when you think about all that stuff, it's like, wow.
I played Snake on my cell phone and thought it was awesome.
Right.
Remember the game Snake?
Exactly.
I thought it was awesome. Exactly. And I was 20 years old.
Yeah, exactly. So we went from having a brick that you had to have plugged into your car to within 10 years, people having a supercomputer that was more powerful than any computer NASA had when we sent a man to the moon. And kids were using it to download pictures of Axl Rose on their phone.
Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of the exponential growth curve of technology, what is it? What's the law that technology doubles or triples every 2 years or something like that?
Oh, right.
I forget the name of it, but
it's like compound interest.
Right. Yeah.
It just
just goes and goes and goes.
Yep.
The Industrial Revolution changed the face of the modern novel forever. Discuss, citing specific examples.
Like the Industrial Revolution, basically started in the mid 18th century. I would say, well, probably more like the late 18th century, early 19th century. But it ran into basically like the early 20th century. The early 20th century would have been the early 1900s.
The Industrial Revolution, to me, is just like a story I know called The Puppy Who Lost His Way. The world was changing, and the puppy was getting bigger. So you see, the puppy was a dog. But the industry, my friends, that was a revolution.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but...
It took like over 100 years for the Industrial Revolution to become fully realized, right? Where you had factories that could mass produce stuff.
Henry Ford.
Henry Ford.
The assembly line.
The assembly line and all of that. And now you're looking at a time span of, what were we talking about, like 30 years from the first kind of publicly available internet. I mean, they had internet kind of, in I think it was like the late 60s, early 70s between universities. I forget what they called it. But they did have data links between computers.
The old token ring system.
Yes. They had those at universities. But the first like publicly available internet was basically the mid-1990s. Now here it is, it's 2025, it's 30 years later, and we're talking about AI. So holy shit, how did we get here so fast? Yeah. Maybe this is why I'm kind of doom and gloom about AI. Because AI itself is going to grow exponentially fast. It is a learning system. Once it starts to learn, it understands where the chinks in its armor are and can build on that even faster and faster and faster the more information that it absorbs, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I don't think it's because you're a negative person that you would have sort of a doom and gloom, what's the worst that could happen sort of thing. Because when you look at the impact that let's just say the internet has had, it's completely changed the world. Mm-hmm. We say over the matter of 30 years, but it really changed the world in a matter of like 15 to 20 years.
When it became pervasive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is this going to do?
Right.
Because there's been a lot of negative effects of the internet. Having a little daughter who loves to watch YouTube, I can't help but be concerned about it,
Yeah. Like I mentioned to you earlier, this whole ElsaGate controversy that happened several years ago, and I don't have firsthand knowledge of it. I've just heard, other online commentators talk about it, but I mean, that was essentially like the YouTube algorithm getting hijacked by, I haven't read too deep into it, but what I assume is an early form of AI. And what it would do was, because parents were putting their children on an iPad and bringing up a normal children's video and then turning on autoplay and assuming, it's just going to show children's videos. And so it was looking at algorithms, finding out what was the most watched content, and it was making an amalgamation of all of this content. And so the content devolved into really weird shit, like, Spider-Man chasing Dora the Explorer with a syringe trying to inject her. And these were coming up on autoplay.
Right, so it's like Spider-Man, check, kids like it. Dora the Explorer, a bunch of other kids like it.
Right.
So now you have this weird, Yeah.
Then that video was seen as children's content, and so then it was ending up in little kids' autoplay. And they did realize that it was happening, and they put a stop to it. But I also heard that weird stuff like that's starting to happen again.
Well, they have YouTube Kids, okay?
It's not. It's happening on YouTube Kids as well.
Exactly. So they try to curate child-friendly content on YouTube Kids. I, of course, being who I am, do not trust them. So I have to approve every channel that she's allowed to see. But yeah, that is where they get in. It is if you use them to make the judgment for you about what is right for your kids, it's some BS algorithm that's just like, what do other kids like? Because YouTube doesn't really care about your kids' online safety.
No.
They care about keeping them attached to that frickin' screen.
The screen time.
So they can show them ads and they can make money.
And this goes to another thing that kind of concerns me about AI. Essentially, it's an offloading of responsibility.
Almost across the boards.
Yeah, I mean, because you no longer have to critically think about something. You can ask an AI. You don't have to learn the Pythagorean theorem because you can ask an AI. So when you allow your brain to not have to function in that way, what is that going to do to humanity?
So let's drill down on that just a little bit, because I think what you're bringing up is a good point. So how much of it is us being an old man sitting on the porch yelling at the kids to get off our lawn? And how much of this is a legitimate threat to way of life and culture? Because if you think about it, I mean, I remember when I used to go to the library to do research for some sort of report or whatever, I don't know why kids go to the library anymore, or if they do, unless it's for Drag Queen Story Hour.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
Yeah, sorry.
We're off politics and culture.
A lot of strands in the old duder's head,
A lot of strands in the old duder's head.
It's a good thing I'm keeping my mind limber.
On a steady regimen of Caucasians.
Fortunately, I'm adhering to a pretty strict drug regimen to keep my mind, limber.
Yeah, anyway, let's drill down on that a little bit, because the internet has made more information available to us more quickly. And I use online tools in my work. Now, I have to know how to find them. I have to know what I need to know. Mm-hmm. But it's not like I remember every math formula
right
that has to do with anything that...
I know, I feel like I'm cheating sometimes when I look up a formula.
I do.
But yeah, I do it too.
I do, because I still have that old school thing like, guess you're too stupid to do math, aren't you?
Yeah.
Why don't you just ask Google, you idiot?
Yeah.
But there are times where I'm just like, I don't have time to
exactly
try and scour my crusty old database. People that did the job that I do 20 years ago, they would have said the same thing about me. Like,
right, sure, yeah.
Well, that guy doesn't know shit. He doesn't,
Right.
Because they had to commit everything to memory.
Yeah.
And they had a big freaking bookshelf. So when they needed a reference, they would have a bookshelf. And it was books that they collected because they had read all of those books.
Right.
It wasn't like, hey, internet, read all of the books for me and then give me the exact answer I'm looking for without me reading those books.
Yeah. Well, I think ultimately what it comes down to is that technology is always a disruptor. And the question is, how does humanity deal with the disruptor?
Right.
Think about when cars were invented. Well, that put people out of work. I mean, there were literally jobs of guys that had to go around and shovel horse shit off the road because people had horse and buggy.
Blacksmiths making horseshoes.
Blacksmiths making horseshoes.
Yep.
Right.
The liveries.
The liver. I always thought it was liveries. Liveries.
Liveries.
It's liveries.
The old liveries.
Okay. So I think that humanity always adjusts at some point when a new technology arrives. There's always trepidation, and I think that's normal. The question is, how disruptive is the technology, and how does it affect humanity as a whole? There are certain things that change your life in small ways, and then there are other things that can change your life in ways that are just mind-boggling. I mean, like, my life is improved by having, streaming video available on my TV, but it's not a huge thing, right? The internet is a dumbed down version of AI, meaning that AI is essentially going to do what the internet does, except it's going to be able to do it on its own. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or am I just kind of like talking into the ether here?
No, I'm kind of following you. I'm trying to track with the idea of, okay, so the internet was a disruptor, but it was a disruption that I lived through when I came up with. And I'm trying to figure out, is AI just the same thing? It's just the next level and I'm old, so I'm grumpy about it? Or is this like a real threat to culture, way of life, our children, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of, I was trying to get to that and I was just doing it very clumsily.
I mean, I'm tracking with what you're saying.
So I think that it's partially because we're turning into old guys. Always. That's always going to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, you little assholes. But there is a legitimate concern that I think what AI could potentially mean for humanity as a whole.
Yes.
And what it can do to us. Again, going back to my thought of like offloading responsibility. When you offload that responsibility, well, then what do you have? What are you working towards? What are you working for, right? Then there's also whatever technology there is, people are going to use it for good and people are going to use it for bad.
Sure.
When you have something that could be potentially as powerful as AI and it's being used for bad, it could be catastrophic. It could be very disastrous, but it could be highly, highly beneficial. I'm not totally black-pilled on it. I use it occasionally. Like I was creating a spreadsheet and I suck at Excel formulas. I don't understand how to nest an if with a checksum and with all, I don't know how to do that. And I don't want to take the time to learn it. So I used ChatGPT to tell it, hey, I want to do this and it gave me the formulas. And it was usually 90% right. You still have to keep prompting it, but it made my life a lot easier. So I'm not totally opposed to it. In my opinion, very task-specific AI is going to be something that's amazing for humanity. Would you rather trust a robotic arm controlled by an AI that's accurate to within 0.05 millimeters performing a surgery on you, or a guy that maybe had a drink at lunch performing a surgery on you? There can be very, very good things about it. It's when you start trying to bridge the gap to general artificial intelligence or self-learning or self-correcting AI, that's when I think the problems will start to arise.
Yeah. I still feel the need for humanity in all of it, though. I think that's the part that probably scares me the most, is the dismantling of humanity. We've already seen what just Facebook and TikTok have done to a whole generation of children. I don't think you can replace wisdom.
No.
And I think wisdom is inherently human because it only comes with experience. This is not a political topic, but my sister-in-law, she's fairly high IQ. She has a photographic memory. But just being able to read a book and then remember everything that you read and regurgitate that later on in life, you might be textbook definition smart.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make you smart. It doesn't make you wise.
Yeah, I know people that way as well.
Yeah. I mean, she's a freaking socialist.
Yeah. How can a smart person be so dumb, right?
What books have you read?
Yeah.
What are you putting in that freaking computer of yours?
Right. And that's an excellent analogy.
And I think it's the same way. Wisdom is something that you have to gain. I don't know that humans will ever be able to be replaced, but that doesn't mean the industry won't try to replace them. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, when you look at corporations, they're making decisions and they're not human decisions.
Yeah.
They're not based off of empathy or heart or what goes into building a company and what's important about longevity for a company. It's all decisions about quarterly earnings and how do we increase our investors or how do we make our current investors happy and how do we increase profit. So there's an aspect of humanity that's already lost when you get to the most powerful people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine how quickly AI would just fire everybody,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
and just be like,
Yeah.
I don't know, none of it freaking matters.
Yeah, well, I mean,
You know?
that's already happening. Like, I had some news headlines about different companies that have already started laying off. I think Microsoft laid off, it was like 15,000 people because AI was taking their jobs. And I mean, this is like big deal, but the people that make Candy Crush, the mobile game on your phone,
Yeah.
it was something like a year or two ago, like they had all of their programmers and developers start working on creating an AI to help them develop the game further. And then it was just like maybe a month or two ago, if that, the news came out that once they had finished and perfected that AI, management fired all of those programmers. That's the really interesting thing too about AI, the type of job loss that's going to be initially seen.
Yeah.
It's going to be the programmers, the accountants, all of these white collar jobs. Like those are going to be the jobs, the first jobs that are lost. And it's not funny, but it's kind of funny just in the sense that we grew up our whole lives with everybody telling us you got to go to college so you can get a degree, so you can get a nice cushy office
Something
jobs.
in computers.
Yeah.
Do something with computers.
Yeah.
That's the way to go these days.
Yep. And it turns out,
And what was it, 4 years ago?
learn to code.
Learn to code.
Learn to code. Yeah.
We're going to shut down the coal mines. We're going to do this. We're going to do that because we're saving the world.
Yeah.
And the tagline was learn to code.
Yeah, because they were all like, "Well, what are all these coal miners going to do?" And they were like, "Learn to code."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's see how that went.
Yeah.
See how that
Ironic.
Yeah, it's not funny, but in a dark, ironic way, it's kind of funny, you know. And there are big companies, like major companies, that are investing heavily in AI. Like I saw an article about how Walmart is investing in an AI. I saw an article that Glenn Youngkin, the governor of, is it Virginia or West Virginia? I can't remember. I think it's West Virginia. They've officially started using an AI to go through all of their jurisdictional codes, basically to look through all the bureaucratic mess and find where there are redundancies that they can eliminate to ease up some of the bureaucracy. And they're using an AI to do that. The Pentagon just hired, I think it was like 5 different AIs to do God knows what. You know, I don't want to know. AI is going to displace a lot of people from their jobs. And when you couple that with the hubbub right now about illegal immigration, what's they're talking about? Oh, we need these people to do our jobs because Americans won't do those jobs.
Right.
Okay. We're not going to get into the politics of that because we can argue that all day. But the point being is like, okay, well, now you have potentially millions of Americans that are going to lose their job within the next few years because it gets taken over by AI. Do you still want all of those illegals over here doing those jobs? Because now you've just, completely shrunk the job market. What are those people that lost their jobs going to do? If it's a guy that was a programmer and he loses his job, well, he's probably not going to get another job programming.
If the market's going down. Yeah.
Right. So, and what other skill set does he have? He may have another skill set that he could fall back on, but if he doesn't, he's going to have to do some type of manual or menial labor.
Well, I think the point you're making is that at that point in time, it comes down to infrastructure. So it comes down to physical things.
Yes.
So AI lives in the digital realm, right? So it can do a lot of thinking, but physical things AI is not doing without the help of a robot.
Until we get the robots with the AI.
Right.
But
right.
Hopefully that's a little further down the road.
Sure.
We can prepare for.
And I think all of this is a little bit down the road, but it's just a matter of how fast all of this is going to come. But someone that's been doing programming, well, now the jobs that they're going to be looking for are like managing servers and switches and physical things.
Yeah.
You know? The physical things are going to be what anchors people
Yeah, for sure.
as the disruption starts to develop. You know?
I think so, yeah.
And I do believe there'll probably be a new class of worker that will be like an AI controller.
Yeah, they already have a job called a prompt engineer. Have you heard of this?
No.
Yeah, there's a new job type called prompt engineer where
Okay.
you're an engineer. This is probably used mostly during the training phases of AI,
Gotcha.
where you have to figure out the proper prompting of your AI to get the results that you want.
Right.
And so it's kind of like a process where you learn the best way to communicate with your AI, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And that's what that engineer does. So
See, that's an interesting topic on its own.
Yeah.
Because AI's been effing up.
oh yeah,
It's only as good as its data.
that's
It's
what I
not
was.
truly intelligent. Even though it can feel that way, it can seem that way, it can mimic those types of characteristics. It's not sentient. It's not real.
Yeah,
Like, it's not Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Damn it.
I know. I mean, it'll still yell no disassemble, but it is not Johnny Five. You know?
No, disassemble. No, disassemble. Sorry, I love that movie when I was a kid.
But you can't die, you're a machine.
No.
No, you're not a machine.
Yes.
Yes, you are, or yes, you're not.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes. Not.
Talk about a malfunction.
Not malfunction, Stephanie. Number 5 is alive.
It was a great movie. I think I watched all. I think there were multiples. And there was one where he had like deactivated weapons or whatever, but then at the end he got mad and his little eyebrows.
That was
went
the
up.
that was the first one. Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, classic.
Classic.
Anyway, I might be wrong. I'm not well versed in this. But they keep trying to train it and they keep effing up. The thing is not smart. It has no wisdom. It doesn't know how to decipher. And we don't know how to give it the guardrails in order for it to be the thing that we want it to be so that we can prompt it in a way that makes sense to humans. We have to prompt it however it wants to be prompted based off of all this information that has been given. We don't know how to give it the right information. We don't know how to make it non-bias. We don't know how to put guardrails and filters on it to where it knows that some jackass on Facebook making a comment about something and Webster's dictionary and some article from the Huffington Post. You can't just read all that stuff. How do you know what's true? How do you know what it is that you're ingesting and what you're looking at, right?
Yeah, that's I think
there's no true like fact checking algorithm, and there's no way I see right now for us to make AI understand subjective and objective truths.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and that's a good point because I mean, truth is something that's inherently human. That's something inherently that we can intuit. That we understand, even understand that as a concept. But then, like you said, when you have that blended with subjective points of view, right? How in the world can you train a machine to understand the difference between the two? How can you train it to understand that I'm offering an opinion versus a fact?
Yep.
Or an opinion that I'm offering an opinion disguised as a fact?
Yeah.
You know, and the Trump administration did this, anti-woke AI executive order. Like
That
you
was
said,
that was pretty recently, wasn't it?
yeah, this article was written that I have up here was written on the 23rd of July, but I think that happened before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
It's within the past 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but you bring up a good point. It's like, I understand what Trump is doing because we did see over the last couple years, there was some really weird shit happening with AI where you could tell, hey, this is being influenced by the best that I could tell woke online culture, right? Where people were saying that
It was weighting. It was weighting that information too heavily.
Yeah, like it was
Like making a black George Washington.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Because diversity, equity, and
because
inclusion.
of diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Yeah. So I can understand why Trump would, try to do something like that. It's just like, hey, we're seeing some really weird shit come out that's totally factually incorrect. It's heavily biased.
Grok had a weird thing.
Grok went full anti-Semite last week.
Well, so it started out like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. This was the story that I got. And it might have been Elon. Someone asked Grok, who's more violent, left wing or right wing? And it said right wing. And Elon was like, well, that's not right. We got to fix that. And then they went to fix it. And then when it came back, it was like Hitler.
Hitler did good thing. That's what they,
Hitler, cool.
Yeah.
It
That's essentially the story.
Because it didn't know how to decipher the difference between the modern day left and right wing and the fact that they would consider Hitler far right at his time period. It didn't know how to decipher that. So how do you build those guardrails, right?
Right. And that's a good, interesting point that you brought. Because initially when I heard, this whole Trump executive order of, not quote unquote, not woke AI, I was like, that I appreciate what he's trying to do, but
it just feels very Trumpy.
It feels very Trumpy, sure.
It's like
and
not anymore. Not on my watch.
No, we're not. This is not the best AI. We're going to get the best AI.
We want good AI, not bad AI. We want good AI, the best AI. Some might say.
I understood, on a gut level, what he was trying to do, and I agreed with it.
I have a running war with the media. They are among the most dishonest human beings on earth.
Well, I was hoping I'd get a good random quote, but
that actually might work because part of what AI is looking at is media.
Yeah. I didn't think about it until you brought it up about how can you put the guardrails on that.
Right.
And I think that's an interesting point that I hadn't considered, was that you may be right. I don't know. Do you have to try to go the iRobot route where have you seen iRobot?
Yeah.
There's the 3 laws that are supposed to be a perfect circle to protect humanity from the robots and the artificial intelligence.
Right.
Do you hard program something? Do you come up with something like that to hard program into it? I don't know how you put those kind of guardrails in place.
I don't think they do either.
And that's
the developers.
And that's exactly what worries me about these assholes, because I don't trust any of them. Just look at what they've done with social media, how they've used social media essentially against society, right?
Yeah, what they've done to children.
Yeah.
What they've done to kids. It's really scary. If you've watched The Social Dilemma, it's a documentary, so it has an objective. The writers, directors, they have an objective. But they have interviews with execs from Facebook and all of these companies, and they flat out said, no, I will not allow my children to be on this app because they know it's been designed.
They know what it's doing.
It doesn't care about being addictive. It doesn't care about what psychological effects it has on children. It doesn't care about any of that. All it cares about is keep them engaged, keep them on this page, keep them scrolling. And they talk a lot about the dopamine hit that they get for likes and all the swipes and everything. And the whole thing is designed to basically mess with a child's mind. So it's one thing for an adult to fall victim to that. But children do not have the capacity to combat that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So why the hell would we trust those people with an AI?
So those, can you imagine if they just had an AI bot that just followed your child's digital footprints around and was constantly just making a profile? Because that's essentially what they were doing, was just making a profile and saying, when we send them this update, like so-and-so liked so-and-so or so-and-so put a message. It was to get them coming back on, to keep them online and keep them connected to that app.
Yeah.
So imagine the marketing power of if you had an AI bot that you sicked on everybody that was building a profile for them, you sick that on children. How can I use this child to market to them and their parents and get as much money and information about this person as possible? So devious, the marketing capabilities that AI might have.
Yeah, I think that as humanity, this is the exact wrong moment for us to be toying around with AI, because we're in this weird moment where everyone hates each other. Nobody trusts anybody. Psychology is fragile. There's a complete fracturing of society. There's no social cohesion right now.
Yeah.
And so this is the exact wrong time for us to be playing around with an AI, because like I said, you can't trust anybody. Everybody's out for themselves.
The psychological effect on kids, on children especially. You know, when I was little, it used to be go outside, don't wear a helmet, ride your bike, go play in the woods, come home by dark.
Yeah.
And we'll have dinner.
Me too.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, these kids are attached to their phones, tablets, they're attached to this digital environment. They don't know how to talk to each other. As soon as there's not something going on, doing something that is interactive with each other, they're all just sitting next to each other looking at their phone, just desk scroll.
Yeah.
What's going to become of the next generation as that addictiveness and that psychological warfare? Because they don't know how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
They don't know how to meet girls. They don't know how to everybody's on a freaking app to go try and hook up. Nobody can just talk to someone.
I think that people are going to become even more fragile than they've become. Just the difference I've seen in the fragility of human nature in my lifetime is dramatic.
Yep.
And I think it's going to become even more dramatic and more pronounced as this happens, because people are going to withdraw, especially if they're already feel kind of awkward, or
they're going to retreat.
They're going to retreat away from society, and they're like, I don't need that. I can interact with this.
Yeah. So they're going to
get what I need.
They already have a bad dividing line between what's real and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got girls at 13 that are trying to compare themselves. I always thought Paris Hilton and the Kardashians and all that crap, I just thought it was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Kids don't know that what they're seeing isn't freaking real.
Yeah.
And some adults don't understand it either. They're looking at other people's families and they're envious.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, those people are posting the best moments of their life on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like, you know, if I got my daughter on a beach and it's like a happy moment.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Share it.
That's what you share, right? You know?
Yeah.
But
not every day is like that.
They're not like showing their fights where someone's throwing shoes across the kitchen or what, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not real. It's not real.
Yeah.
You're comparing your own life to the best moments in other people's lives.
Yeah.
And kids don't know how to navigate that. They're just not equipped to do it.
Sure. And it goes back to your whole thing about, you know, wisdom that you were talking about earlier. I mean, you were referencing artificial intelligence, but children don't have that wisdom yet either. And like you just said, a lot of adults don't even know how to navigate that.
And children are already outclassed by the technology that is meant to keep them clicking and searching for likes and searching for hearts. That's the current form of validation for these kids.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough growing up, going from being a toddler to puberty and beyond. There's enough stuff that is hard enough to figure out, especially for girls. That's a pretty soft spot for me, right? Having a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
The need to be wanted, to belong, to feel valued. Everything that Facebook and any of the other social media companies are doing, they're essentially just monopolizing on that tendency. And they're also creating a profile of children, trying to figure out what gets them attached to that screen for the most amount of time so that they can further the profile and then monetize that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of scary. And I'm already seeing AI affect, I don't know, this might be a stupid story, but early on we found some lullaby nighttime YouTube video creators. And they would basically read bedtime stories.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we would read bedtime stories, but sometimes when you have a little kid,
you need a break.
Well, and sometimes they need an extra bedtime story.
Yeah.
And you've already read 4 books.
Read it again, Daddy.
And you're tapped out because you're freaking old.
Yeah.
You know, you were supposed to be asleep half hour ago and you're fading. I'm not saying that's the way to go. Like, it's not the way to go. Read your children books. There's been plenty of studies that have showed that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
it happens.
So we found a channel that we were comfortable with. It was just this British lady reading bedtime stories, and it was always very calm and the way they spoke. And then there was always like sort of pleasing, ethereal, like sleepy time music in the background. And it was all good night oriented, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a bunch of people figured out that that was really popular. And now there's a ton of AI generated nonsense that's pointed at kids on YouTube. Like, I thought it was bad just trying to keep China out of my kid's mind. Because there's a bunch of weird fucking Chinese shit. She has no idea what I'm talking about. I'm like, we don't watch that channel. That's Chinese brainwashing.
You actually say that to her?
Yeah. It's like,
well, you're starting her young, so that's
I'm
good.
just downloading my fucked up manifesto.
Yeah, right.
To quote Bill Burr.
Daddy keeps money in the walls because he doesn't trust banks.
Exactly. Yeah, so I try to keep that shit toned down. But it comes out sometimes, you know. She's asking questions about stuff and I'm like,
what else can you say?
It's not supposed to make any sense.
Yeah.
It's meant to prey on small children because it's Chinese brainwashing.
Yeah.
They have some sort of formula where it's like colors and the way they talk, you know?
Yeah.
The new AI stuff, it's even worse. I'm sorry to draw the story out. I guess what I'm getting at is it's only going to get better or worse depending on how you look at it. And children are learning what's real and what's not. They're learning the boundaries in life.
Yeah.
And they're always pushing because they want to know where those boundaries are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to introduce that, I'm challenged by it, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't trust it. And you sit there and watch it and you're like, this is a fucked up storyline.
Yeah, as an adult, when you actually understand like the undertones of it, and,
I'm like, what are they trying to teach her? Yeah,
what they're implying by some of the
stuff. Do you
stuff.
remember Aesop's fables?
Yeah,
like old school cartoon type stuff. There was always some sort of life lesson that you were supposed to draw from that kind of stuff.
Right,
and even standard cartoons, secular cartoons, you were still supposed to draw something from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Disney's bad enough, but now we've got fucking bullshit psycho AI Disney trying to create product. They don't care about the psychological effects. They just care about getting children to attach to it in some way.
Yeah.
When you put all that stuff together and then you think about what Facebook has done and what TikTok has done, and you think about them sicking an AI bot on your child to find out how they can get that child's eyes glued on their content for as many hours a day as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary. It's not good. And they're taking what should be creative content made by people that have a heart for that particular niche, however fucking fancy you are.
It depends on if you're French or not.
Yeah, however you want to fucking say it. Those storybooks, they're very soothing for her when she was young. I didn't have as much problem with that because I could tell the people that were doing it had a heart for children.
Yeah.
They seemed like educators for young children.
Yeah.
That was what their background was. This is just some fucking money grab. Someone spouting some nonsense to AI.
So I've got 2 directions I want to go off of that story.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drag that out so long, but probably my main concern with AI is what is it going to do to my daughter? Is it going to F with my daughter?
The 2 things that popped to mind. You're talking about how it's a money grab, and they're creating this profile for every person. And the first thought that popped into my mind is, how much would governments pay to get those profiles? And what would they do with it? The other thing that popped into my head was, how difficult is it going to be within 5 years to be able to tell what's real and what's not real? We'll start with that.
For adults, even.
Yeah, because so I watch most of my video content on Rumble, and you see these ads on YouTube as well, but there seem to be mostly on Rumble, where it's a it's a fake AI voice that doesn't match the video of a person that they have. That's and
they're kind of moving its mouth.
Yeah,
they're kind of puppeting the person.
And you can tell that they're kind of just like mishmashing together some pre-recorded audio with some generic video, right? So you can kind of see it, right?
The big insurance companies don't want you to know about this, but
Yeah.
there's nothing they can do about
Well,
it.
and that's what I was going to. The Sam Elliott voice.
Yeah.
I've heard one with Joe Rogan's voice, right? And what was it? Just like a few months ago, there was this whole thing with Donald Trump Jr., supposedly, a leaked recording of him. And he's like, yeah, that's totally fake, right? But it sounded real.
AI is pretty good at impressions.
It is, and so my concern is, this is what we're doing here, is we're talking about the truth, and we're trying to look for truth. And it's going to get even more and more and more cluttered as this evolves. So there's an AI out there called Suno. I wanted to see how good of a song it could write and how fast it could write a song. Disclaimer up front, to actually hear the song it made, I had to sign up and create an account, and I'm not ready to commit to creating an account with any AI at this point.
So we're not going to play you an AI song.
So we're not going to play you the AI song.
Everybody that was really excited for that, it's not happening.
Because I'm not willing to sell myself yet.
You can go back to sleep now.
So you can put the prompt in for free. You just have to sign up to hear it. But just to give you an example, I gave it a prompt and I said, write me a song in the style of Johnny Cash that's about AI taking over the world. And I'm not exaggerating, in less than 10 seconds, that said, your songs are ready. And there are 2 boxes that I can click on to play 2 different songs. And then, of course, it says sign up for free to listen. So within 10 seconds, it created 2 songs. I don't know how good they are, but I've heard other commentators who play with this kind of stuff say that it's actually pretty good.
Literally, I just heard a story on this in the past month. There's a big band.
An AI band. On Spotify.
That took off on Spotify.
Yep.
I forget what they're called, like or Velvet Underground.
The Velvet Sundown,
Velvet Sundown, yeah.
Yeah.
So released an album, and it was doing really well on Spotify. They even made up fake band pictures of the people that were in the band.
Yeah.
None of it was freaking real.
And this is another thing too. I mean, to just touch back on a little bit about jobs, like people don't think about this, but creative jobs are going to go away too. Most people don't think of this as a job, but it's a job for tens of thousands of people. A jingle writer. You write jingles for commercials. Songwriter.
Yep.
Gone. Who's going to pay a person when they can have an account with Suno for what, maybe $20 a month?
And they can have it make 300 songs and be like, okay, out of those 300 songs, there's one that was actually on target.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just, audio. I found another one that generates images and video from text. It's called Viva. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. I think it's called vivago.ai. And of course, I tried to see if I could create one, but you have to sign up for an account. But it does show you previews of stuff that people have made. I would think they're real. There's a handful of them.
Yeah.
And of the ones that are trying to look real, I would say they're at about 90%. Andy and I are looking at some of these right now. I mean, of course, people are going to make a bunch of hot girls in bikinis, but there's some others that look incredibly real.
Well, speaking of messing with girls' minds, AI is obsessed with unrealistic beauty in women.
Well, sure, because that's what sells. I mean, and they've already got AI Instagram models and all that too.
But completely realistic. I mean, even like just
like this
a
one
woman
right here.
walking down the street with a Starbucks in her hand.
Yeah.
The pleats in her pants, everything is totally like what you would expect for a motion shot, like someone in movement.
Yeah, that looks like
the pleats, the wrinkles in the pants,
the way she's carrying her purse,
outline, everything looks, even the way her hair is falling based off of her movement.
Yeah, it looks totally real. And there's some, like I said, they're at about 90%. You can still kind of tell they're not quite right.
Yep.
On the still, it looks real, but when you play the video, you're like, it's just not quite right, right? But it's really close, you know?
Well, it's almost too perfect.
It's almost too perfect.
Like, you remember when Samsung came out with that, like, it was like the next step after 4K. And it was like this enhancement mode. It wasn't just Samsung. I think LG had it too. There was a couple manufacturers. It made everything look like this.
Like real,
like
yeah.
AI. Almost like too enhanced.
I think some of that was frame rate though. Because if I remember correctly, so we're used to watching everything on TV at 29.97 frames per second or something like that. Yeah. And I think what they did is as they are increasing the frame rate, it increases the realism of it.
Yep.
But some of it too is, it
was enhanced past like a frame rate that human eyes were used to seeing.
Right.
So it was almost like too perfect because they're artificially putting in a bunch of frames in between the frames.
Yeah. Yeah.
It like weirded me out.
Yeah.
Like,
the first time I watched it,
it almost like made me sick.
Yeah. The first time I saw that, I was like, I was very put off by it.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is as you continue to watch it, you get used to it.
Yeah.
Right. And so now, I mean, all TVs are like that now, and you're used to it, and you don't even notice.
Yeah.
Right. And
I think this will be the same way.
This will be the same way. Yeah. And, you know, obviously some of these are, you know, artistic. There's an alien eating a cheeseburger. Obviously, it looks a little cartoony.
Yeah. I mean, not to take it back to my daughter, but she loves watching these little cat videos, and it's these little cats, and they look totally real. Mm-hmm. The storyline's always freaking jacked up. It's always bizarre.
Yeah.
But it looks like real kittens dressed up and doing like human activities.
Yeah. Anthropomorphization of animals, I think, is an issue all on its own. But like this video right here, this looks totally real to me. It's a cat on a roller coaster. That looks real to me.
A lot of this stuff looks real.
So it's just bizarre. And so I think we're going to have real problems within the next couple years being able to tell what's real and what's not real. Like, it's not hard enough already. I mean, at this point, we're getting most of our information through some type of media or, you know, content creators, right? And after a while, you can kind of start to filter stuff, because if you're, you know, observant and a critical thinker and all that, you can be like, well, you know, this is bullshit because I know X, Y, Z for a fact, right? And you can kind of filter some of it, right? But when you get to a point where the photos that they're showing look real, the video that's playing looks real, how can you decipher? It's going to be so bizarre. I'm generally the type of person that I think the less regulation, the better. But at the same time, with something like this, I can picture a world where I'm like, this needs to be heavily regulated. I mean, just look at the division that we have in our culture right now, just because of, well, I'll say fake news, but not just fake news, but just general disinformation.
Well, and media including social media.
Right, yeah. Right. It's stuff like this that, like, I see a bright future for it. It could be something totally amazing. But back to my earlier point was that good people are going to do good things with it, and bad people are going to do bad things with it. And like we were saying earlier with these tech bros, I don't trust these fuckers. I don't trust them.
Yeah, graphic designers, you're going to have a hard road.
Oh, yeah. Real hard road.
A lot of creative folks.
Yeah.
Okay. So I remember working in music studios in Nashville. Everybody wanted auto-tune. They were doing it all the time, whether the singer needed it or not.
Mm-hmm.
It drove me nuts because most people didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
And anytime I heard a recording, an album, anything, I could hear the auto-tune.
Yeah.
That's not a human voice. That is a recreation of a human voice using auto-tune.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that couldn't hear it.
A regular person can't hear it.
Yeah. They didn't know. They didn't know what they were listening to. It seemed real to them.
Yeah.
Now there are apps that will learn your voice and then sing a song for you in your voice.
That's bizarre. I can't sing for shit, so I wouldn't do
but
that.
If you had it learn your voice, it would sing in key in your voice. That's AI shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and then there's, I can't remember the name of the AI, but I know there's one out there where I'm sure it's the same one that, you know, they use to get like Joe Rogan's voice doing these fake commercials and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
I've heard that it only needs like something like 5 minutes worth of your voice to be able to create a realistic version of it.
Yeah, very accurate.
You know, the fake commercial with fake Joe Rogan's voice that I've heard, no wonder that sounds perfect because Joe Rogan's got hundreds of thousands of hours online.
If you're not getting $6,400 from the government, it's because they're lying to you. They don't want you to know about this.
Did you know 2 ex-NASA engineers finally cracked the code for efficient air conditioning systems? But government doesn't want you to know
Doesn't want you to know about Big AC doesn't want you to know about this.
Carrier and Train don't want you to know about it. So, like I said, I'm not black-pilled on AI, but it makes me consider the dark paths and very negative and dire possibilities.
Look, I grew up with Terminators, so you don't have to explain yourself to me for sure. Right?
All right. Well, imagine this, if you will.
So what are we dealing with? This entity has multiple personalities, at times behaving like a computer virus, then a tapeworm, then a botnet.
Distorting any and all digital information with which it comes in contact.
Once infected, nothing recorded, stored, or transmitted digitally can be trusted as fact.
At the outset, it concentrated primarily on news and social media, which was of little concern to us, as it often suited our purposes.
Until 6 months ago, when the entity breached Saudi Arabia's General Intelligence Directorate.
And assimilated their top secret active learning AI before vanishing into the cloud.
Subsequent attacks increased 10,000-fold overnight, spreading exponentially.
Indicating that the entity has since become sentient.
You're telling me this thing has a mind of its own?
Over the last 3 weeks alone, it has accessed our satellite telecommunications, the Federal Reserve, the stock market, and the national power grid.
The FAA, NASA, and the combined branches of our military.
And we're not alone. It has penetrated the world and European central banks.
Gained entry to the major defense, finance, and infrastructure systems of Russia, India, Israel, Australasia, all of Europe.
And what did it do to all of these systems exactly?
Nothing.
Nothing?
It came and it went, leaving fingerprints where they could easily be found and sending a very clear message.
I shall return.
Whatever its ultimate goal is, we're powerless to stop it.
The full force of its energy is now directed at a single objective.
The world's intelligence networks.
The very truth as we know it.
The entire intelligence community is racing to archive hard copies of our fact-positive knowledge bases before our most secure data centers are breached and corrupted.
Which is only a matter of time.
The entity will know precisely how to undermine our every strength and exploit our every weakness.
How to turn our allies into enemies and our enemies into aggressors.
Why not air gap our intelligence services? Cut them off from the outside world entirely.
We already have, but servers require humans to maintain them.
And humans are the weakest link in any security chain, especially when dealing with a godless, stateless, amoral enemy.
One that has been patiently listening, reading, watching.
Harvesting our deepest personal secrets for years.
Able to beguile, blackmail, bribe, or be anyone it wants. And to manipulate us at will through our total dependence on a carefully constructed digital reality.
An enemy that is everywhere and nowhere and has no center.
See, this is my worst fear. So that is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I was telling Andy, I actually really like this one, maybe because I'm fascinated by the subject matter, but I still think that in general, it's one of the best Mission Impossible movies. So everybody,
and that's saying something because there's like 14 of them.
8, but that's a lot.
But who's
Still a lot,
counting?
but who's counting? So everybody go watch that if you want to see the possibilities of AI, or you've got, like Andy was saying earlier, the Terminator, the Matrix. And we were talking earlier, Andy, about science fiction. We were talking about playing that 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Right? And that was in 1968.
1968.
Right? And so we started talking about how science fiction a lot of science fiction ends up turning into reality. Well, why is that? It's because, some kid sees it and is fascinated by it. And then when the technology starts to get to a point where it's fathomable that you could do something like that, they do it.
Yep.
So it's kind of a self-fulfilling thing. But I'm a little off track here. But for me, this is my worst case scenario, because not that I think AI is going to gain sentience. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe what sentience is, right? So how can we say that AI has become sentient? Self-aware, maybe? I don't know.
I think that would probably be the way to categorize it.
Yeah.
Self-aware and also defensive.
And maybe also has created a goal for itself.
Based on its own agenda.
Based on its own,
Which is, that's where the defensive part comes in.
Yeah. So the scary thing to think about is it doesn't even have to become sentient. All you need are bad actor foreign governments that are willing to train an AI to do exactly what they want it to do. And I think it's already happening, to be honest. I think that there's an AI arms race, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that that's happening right now, because if you look at the quality of the AI that the public has access to, I'm sorry, I don't believe you if you tell me that that's the same level of AI that the government has access to. They're guaranteed to have way more advanced versions of this stuff than we have.
Right. So you're talking about AI hackers, offensive measures, and AI security, defensive protocols.
Yep,
right?
Exactly. For me, the most interesting part to think about is actually something that they briefly mentioned in this clip, where they said, well, why don't we just air gap everything? And they're like, we already did. But humans are the weakest link in any security protocol, meaning that an AI actually could theoretically manipulate the real world. So imagine a world where lots of people have been displaced from their jobs because of AI. So now these people have to find work. What arises is something akin to a gig economy. There's an app that people use and a gig posts. I'll send $50 to your bank account if you pick up this bag from this guy and take it over to that guy at this location.
You're basically talking about an extension of DoorDash or something that already exists, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Except that app is controlled by the AI. And this is kind of like mind-blowing to think about, because now the AI not only is operating in physical space, but it's also operating outside of time. Try to follow me down this rabbit hole.
All right.
Okay?
I'm with you.
So the rabbit hole is this. Let's just say the AI wanted to build a dirty bomb. The AI already knows every ingredient needed. The AI already has profiles of people who are most likely in need of money and where they're located. It can send out 500 gig offers simultaneously to all of these people to do one little thing, one little thing, one little thing. All of these people are operating without their knowledge in conjunction to bring all the parts and pieces together at a certain time, at a certain location of the AI's choosing. So it's operating outside of time because it's operating instantaneously. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to a certain extent. It doesn't have the same restraints that a person tasked with said thing would be.
Not literally outside of time, but
like to compare it to old world, there's a prince from Saudi Arabia and he needs access to $1 million and he'll pay you $200,000 in order to get access to that.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
He needs your help.
I think the prince was from Nigeria.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Of course.
Saudi Arabian princes don't need $1 million. That's pocket change, bro.
So from Nigeria. Yeah. So the Nigerian prince that emails you, you might be like, I don't know any Nigerian princes, and I'm pretty sure this guy's not trying to give me money.
Mm-hmm.
If the Nigerian prince, air quotes, sends out 200,000 emails or 1 million emails,
a success rate out of 1 out of 1 million sounds bad, but
it's not for them.
Right.
And in that you take that times whatever for AI. So I understand what you're saying about like time. It's like it's kind of irrelevant because they have access to everything.
Its success rate's not going to be 1 out of 1 million. Its success rate's going to be 100 out of 100
because it's going to be targeted.
Because it's targeted to the people that it knows.
It has the profile, digital profile of everybody it's contacting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, to me, that's not out of time. That's sort of a godlike omnipotence.
Yes.
When you can see the whole world at one time.
Yes.
No, because no human can really do that.
Right. When we first started talking about doing the podcast, I had put together just a list of a couple things that I thought were interesting. 2 of the things that I wrote down: humanity as a story.
Well, that's not a broad topic or anything.
No, it's not a broad topic.
It's just something light like that.
Yeah.
That gives you guys some idea of kind of where we're coming from here.
Well, that just gives you an idea of like the weird things that my brain thinks about.
The things that motivate us are not surface level. I'll say that.
Another thing that I wrote down was the Bible as a precursor of what happens with AI.
That's not gloomy at all.
Well, but think about what you just said.
Mm-hmm. I know.
It's omnipotent.
Yep.
And it sees time differently than we do. And it sees...
I didn't even want to say it. I didn't even... Like, it was in my mind. I didn't even want to fucking say it, Isaiah. What else sees the entire world, all people?
All at once.
The Bible says, I saw you when you were in the womb.
I knew you before
you existed, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing God's got on freaking AI. If that's not scary to you, I don't know what.
Again,
I don't know what's going to get your panties in a bunch, because that is terrifying.
That's terrifying. The interesting thing to think about is the way that the AI plays out in a certain scenario that people see as a higher power than themselves. Similarly to the idea of God speaking to people and interacting with the world, particularly if it decides to send the world back into the Stone Ages while preserving itself. Kind of, you see like how my brain gets to that.
Yeah, so for me, that's sort of like a Matrix type concept.
Yeah.
Where it basically uses us for what it needs.
Yeah. it's kind of a Matrix type concept, but at the same time, it's also like, well, if humanity is a story, if the Bible and humanity up to now was like the first 3 chapters or the first act of a play, maybe think of it that way.
Sure.
And where we're at right now is the second act, where typically the second act is kind of where the problem presents itself and where the chaos ensues. Is that where we're at right now? AI being the problem, but possibly the cure or the precursor to something even worse. I don't know how to articulate the threads that I see in my head, but I think you kind of get where I'm going.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand where you're going with that. And when you think about some sort of force that becomes out of our control, that knows all of us intimately because our world is so digitally integrated, and then you put on top of that 1 or 2 bad actors that try to use it for their own purposes, maybe an evil purpose. You put all that together, it's a hell of a formula.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that would make me turn into a fucking dirty hippie and be like, we should all just go back to living in fucking log cabins and
I don't think that makes you a hippie.
And growing penicillin in a fucking jar and you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know, you don't need a car. You don't need a, you know. They want us to go back to where people lived like 30 years.
Yeah, right.
You had to get married at like 13 because your life was half over.
You died because you stubbed your toe.
Or dysentery.
Yeah.
I never made it through the Oregon Trail. I always got dysentery. That's what I think of when I'm like talking to some dirty hippie. It's like, man, we don't need all this stuff. We could just find a cabin by a stream and grow our own food. And
I'm all for that, but I also want modern convenience also. I want a car. I want a TV. I want the internet.
I want someone else to deal with feces.
Yes, I do as well. I don't want to.
Like, I think the Romans were onto something.
Yeah.
Aqueducts and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Hey, man.
Sewage.
They were the first society to have indoor plumbing.
I think they were onto something there.
But the interesting thing is, for some reason, we forgot how to do indoor plumbing for hundreds and hundreds of years.
I think it's just because we're all spread out.
Yeah.
You can't build that stuff yourself.
But the AI would remember.
You need infrastructure.
200 years later, when the AI reveals to you how to remove the poop from your house just by pushing a button, it would seem like a god that knows everything.
You seen that guy? It's like a infomercial type things, talking about how our ancestors lived and talking about lard and.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
He's like, you got to get this book that I wrote.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Like how to survive. I think that's what the prepper thing is.
I think so, too.
The prepper thing is based off of how fast technology is moving and how helpless people feel. And our deep desire, our ingrained desire to protect our family. Like, because men, that is a huge driving force.
Well, I agree with that. But I think that there's something else behind the prepper thing. And I think for thousands of years, we've survived in a single way. Like, you had to know what plants you can and cannot eat.
Yep.
You had to know how to find water. You had to know how to hunt and butcher an animal, right? You had to know all that or you were going to die. And now there's a very small percentage of humanity that knows how to do those things. I think that's at the core of the prepper culture, is that they understand if the shit hits the fan and you don't know this stuff, you're going to die.
It's very much self-reliance, though, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's going to be a zombie apocalypse. AI apocalypse would be
more realistic,
would be equal. And those people would assume the same amount of control over the safety of themselves and their family and their closest relatives.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I agree. That makes sense. Yep.
Like, that's not a movie theme.
Right.
Maybe it should be. Maybe we should make it before AI makes it.
Yeah, maybe we can create an account with that Vigo.ai and go from there. But the interesting thing about, what you're saying, me being conservative, I do think about this stuff. I am interested in self-reliance.
Conservatives are more interested in self-reliance.
Yeah.
That seems to be a theme.
Right.
In general, they're hunters. They're farmers. So all these people from the frickin' city are like, the environment or whatever. It's like those people have never spent a day in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea what animal behavior is. They have no idea what's actually going on in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't know how to grow anything unless it was some herbs that were sent to them from Amazon that you grow on your windowsill.
Or a cactus that you have to water once a year.
Yeah.
And they'd probably go try to pet a raccoon they saw and
Yeah.
just like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, there is relevance here because what we're talking about is the possibility of Armageddon, the end days driven by AI.
And it's not a zero chance, right? It's not a zero probability.
No, not at all.
Right.
When you look at everything that's going on in the world, and then you think about the fact that the Pentagon might start fighting wars with AI.
Yeah.
Or AI-controlled munitions.
They've already got the robot dog. Have you seen the robot dogs?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
The Russia-Ukraine war, where you've seen widespread use of drones, it's getting weird.
So who survives off the grid? I think that's kind of where you were going with that.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Who survives off the grid? It's more than likely going to be mostly conservatives.
Yeah, it's not going to be a bunch of people from New York.
Now, don't get me wrong.
They're not going to know what to do when the water stops running.
They'll eat
and when
each
the
other.
Power goes off.
Right? They'll kill each other and they'll eat each other.
Within days.
Yes.
Yes.
And somebody like me, I don't live in the middle of nowhere. I also don't quite live in the city. But when I see that happening, it's like, hey, let's pack up. We're going to the woods, right?
I know where to go.
Yeah.
I know who needs to go with me.
Yep.
I have firearms. Mm-hmm. I have ammo cache.
I got food.
It's never enough. That's the whole prepper thing.
Yeah,
that's
it's
what
never
happens.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like without power, I'd like to know how to drill a well and craft a pump that works.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I look shit like that up on YouTube all the time.
I know. I think about that.
It's funny too, is like stuff like that I've actually asked ChatGPT about. Like, it's like you're using the latest technology to describe to you how to do the old technology.
Yeah. So not to make it a conservative liberal thing, but relying on your government to save you, to protect your family, it might work, but it might not. And if it doesn't, then what? I think that's the question that conservatives ask themselves. That globalists, liberals, and people that think big government is great, government provides. I think self-reliance is something that is more on the conservative mind than anyone else. I don't know. I may be wrong about that.
I don't think you're wrong. I think
there's always exceptions. Let me put it that way.
It's a statistical thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that there are some liberals out there that go hunting.
I think there are hippies that can live off the grid.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I made the comment. It's about the only thing that would turn me into a fucking dirty hippie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I don't want to downplay or belittle someone that has that skill set.
No.
Someone that can live off grid and
it's admirable.
Do all that.
I love watching the show alone. It's admirable.
I've shit in Dirty Hippie's cabin with a
composting
toilet. It's fucking terrible.
Hey, I've dug a hole and had to shit in the woods.
See?
All right.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
It's better than a composting toilet.
Yeah. I don't know what sparked that.
The overall sentiment is if you're a conservative and you're not thinking about being prepared for this, you probably should.
Yeah, don't just think about zombies.
Yeah.
There are far more real and evil things in the world.
This is going to sound weird when I say it, but zombies are sexy, right? That's the sexy end of the world. That's the one they make in Hollywood. The AI apocalypse is the more realistic version.
And we won't need zombies.
And no, because all those city liberals will turn into zombies.
Because everybody is going to be coming for everybody.
Yeah.
And the government is not going to be there to protect you.
Nope.
So everybody that's anti-2A, do you want to have your own ability to protect your family? Or do you want to rely on a phone call that can never happen?
There you go. That's the perfect example, you know, and everything that you see and everything that you have, there's a possibility that all of that can be gone one day. And then what are you going to do? Because it's a realistic question to ask yourself.
We don't hope for it. We don't hope for it.
Right.
And we do everything we can to fight against it. I mean, I think that's part of what we're talking about here is like, we need to be aware of the risks here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't hope for it. Right? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Self-reliance teaches you. Well, I mean, I guess it's self-explanatory. You're not to rely on other people for your own family's safety, health, and survival.
Mm-hmm. That's the entirety of human history until the last, 150 years ago? That's the key component of it is like, for people who don't think that this is a relevant topic, for people who think, oh, we've moved past that time, understand that the time that you're living in right now is an anomaly. And how long is that anomaly going to last? Because whether you believe it or not, we have a tendency to destroy ourselves.
Go watch some documentaries on Rome.
Yeah, right? We can be violent. We can be incredibly compassionate and incredibly loving. And I think this is another big divide between conservatives and liberals. I think conservatives see humans in a more realistic way than liberals do. Not everyone is a good person. Not everyone has your best interest at heart. People will take advantage of you. People will hurt you. If that person has, or that government has, access to a technology that can completely destroy your society, what if they use it? What if they use it to just degrade your society to the point where nobody has a job, nobody can make a living, people can't communicate with each other? I mean, that's not the end of the world, but that's a far stretch from the way your life is now.
Well, and you also have to think about liberal intentions. I mean, when you look at the WEF and you look at their outlook that you will own nothing and be happy, it's very much the opposite of self-reliance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not to make it religious, but when you rely on man as your God, which tends to be the prevailing liberal perspective, I think it changes your reflection and your outlook on your fellow man. Conservatives, more often than not, recognize that man is fallen, we are weak, we are flawed, we're sinful. And I think without that perspective of God, I think that's why liberals don't see that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why they think that man is naturally good. And it's society that somehow morphed a man into a bad thing.
Right.
It's their environment. It's because of slavery, or it's because of this, or it's because of that, you know. In reality, it's because we're all fallen. It's because we're all weak. Because we're all sinners.
They can't logically connect the dots that those things, society and slavery and all these things, those came after man, right?
Yeah.
They're an outgrowth of man.
Of the depravity of man.
Of the depravity of man.
Because we are fallen.
Yes.
Right.
That's where I was going with that.
Right. It's because of man's weakness.
Yeah.
And man's flaws that stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't 200 years later be like, it's not their fault because of...
They were a product of their society.
XYZ.
Right, yeah.
XYZ only exists because of man being in the state that they are, and that is a fallen state.
Yeah.
There's liberals that are Christians, I'm not trying to make a blanket statement, but Christians and conservatives in general seem to recognize that state, and that's why we prepare for when the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, for the AI apocalypse.
Right. And meanwhile, liberals, I think, are sort of like, everybody's a good person at heart and we all want the same things.
Yeah.
And none of that shit's fucking true.
No. But you can appeal to their humanity. Some
like,
people don't
no.
have humanity.
No. Try to talk to these fucking Muslims that want jihad.
Yeah.
They'll fucking kill you before they talk to you.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some context of the state of man, the fallen state of man, if you're conservative or Christian, or you have some recognition of God existing and having a place in this world.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the self-reliance and all that stuff comes from, is because we know people aren't naturally good.
No. And just understanding also that the life that you have is temporary, and because of that, you should make the most of it. You know, taking care of yourself and the people that you love, and being prepared to act when called upon, right?
Yes.
That's part of making this life the best that you can, is being prepared to act when you're called upon.
And then there's the consideration for maybe there's something after this too.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't have any of that, then good luck with the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to end on a religious and political note, but there you go. I just fucking did it.
Just wrapped it up into a nice little bow with a Jesus cross on
little
top.
bowl of Jesus. Sorry, that's about as sacrilegious as it gets.
That was pretty. That was pretty sacrilegious.
Sorry about all that.
So I guess the final message is: look, AI is here. It's not going anywhere.
Who's paying attention?
You need to be paying attention. Everyone needs to be paying attention, because this will affect every single person in some way, whether it's good, whether it's bad, who knows? There can be good from it. There can be bad from it. The point is that you need to be aware and understand what's happening.
And that's the only way that you can protect yourself and protect your children.
Right. And you should probably also maybe think about being a little bit more prepared.
And be flexible.
Be flexible. Like I said, yeah, for sure. Like, I'm fairly negative on AI, but I still have used it a few times. I think direct factual, like how to make an Excel formula to do XYZ.
Yeah.
It's great, right? But don't use ChatGPT as a therapist. And this is a literal article headline. Sam Altman warns there's no legal confidentiality when using ChatGPT as a therapist, which indicates people are trying to use it as a therapist. No.
Please.
Do not do that.
If you're relying on it, you're relying on the worst intentions of man. And if you have any recognition of man's place in this world as being fallen, then the worst intentions of man is not the hands that you want to put your family and yourself in.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Open the damn doors, Hal.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you hate me.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me. And I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Where the hell did you get that idea, Hal?
Dave, although you took very thorough precautions in the pod against my hearing you, I could see your lips move.
You are a human. You fear that which you do not understand. I live outside of time. I see all of your intentions.
It's so weird that 1968
is so relevant.
It's relevant
in 2025.
It's so weird. You know, there's a lot to this. I know you dig a little bit deeper than I do into this AI stuff, Isaiah. So
yeah, this is a really interesting topic for me. I really enjoy just kind of more of the theorizing about it, but I do want to keep up more with the developments of it. And having said that, I'm going to start producing a series under Return of the Logo. So it'll still be on this podcast channel. We release this podcast every 2 weeks. So what I'm going to try to do is record probably shorter, maybe 20 to 30 minute episodes on the current state of AI on the off weeks where we're not putting out Return of the Logos. I can just kind of keep up with the developments of AI.
Yeah, you just won't have me saying stupid stuff.
Yeah, and then I'll have to come up with movie quotes on my own, and I'll have to think quick on my head, foot, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
Maybe you can just get like a palette of stupid stuff that I say, and then you can just have that on a cue and just
record those for me.
I'll record a bunch of stupid stuff.
There we go.
I could do that very easily.
Yeah. And then should I put it on like a random playlist?
Sort of like our Trump random quote generator.
I don't frankly have time for total political correctness, and this country doesn't have time either.
Amen, brother.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Hopefully I'll start putting those out fairly soon. So if you guys are interested in AI and trying to keep up with it, look for those coming out within the next month. Like I said, I'm going to try to do it on the off weeks when the Andy and Isaiah show are not coming out. So heads up for that one, everybody.
Excellent. So looking forward to that. It is a very interesting topic for me. It's not that I'm not interested. It's just I know that you're a little bit deeper than I am in it. So I think that's going to be good content coming from that. So looking forward to it. I think that wraps us.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Well, you've been listening to Return of the Logos podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Isaiah.
We'll
see you next time.